Talking with Harry Chapin today, and that's a pleasure for me because he's not only a guest but a friend. And we've been in a lot of stuff together in the past 2 years. And I guess one of the biggest things has been our hunger disasters as well as some of the great things that have
Yeah.
happened. We've had some fantastic bombs in terms of some concerts that we tried to plan that didn't come off. But we've done, how many? What, 50 concerts?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Well, the thing, Bill, is that I mean, as you have said, and I mean, it's the thing that I believe in strongly that if you're serious about something, you're not based looking for the one march, the one concert, the one
Exactly.
bill. That you're involved on a day-to-day basis. You're here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 10 years from now. And people need, I think, ongoing commitments. I had an ongoing commitment for many years to myself to become successful. But then, okay, so you get a certain amount of success. You got your name around. You're able to do the kinds of things you want to do creatively. But I mean, hopefully there's something larger, and I also occasionally blame it on liberal guilt with things going so well. I think that you should offer some things for other people, and I just through doing the natural benefits that come to somebody who is well known. People call you up and trying to feel that I was doing things like that. I started getting involved with some hunger things through you, and I mean we found out quite early that it's quite a complicated game. There's very many facets to it, but I think we're also both believers in the udge factor, which is
Yes,
that
yes.
the combination of all those little things that people do in many different areas that end up by making a great big udge that tends to move things. And I think the other thing we've learned, along with our setbacks, is that really most of the things that happen in the world are caused by minorities, not by majorities, the bad things and the good things.
Yeah.
And that you can't expect to have 50% of or 70% of everybody marching along with you. If you can get 20 other good people working with you on
You can
some
do
project,
something.
you can do
Yeah.
a tremendous amount.
And that's exactly the kind of thing we're trying to do with Why, World Hunger Year, which is a thing that's been going on for almost a year now. That's amazing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's after all those meetings we were having in living rooms and stuff to
Yes.
get it to the point where we've got two offices, one in New York. See, there's incredible relief organizations out there doing the really dirty business of and I
Getting
don't
the
mean
food to people.
Yeah, I'm dirty in the sense that it's an incredibly awesome task with the lack of transportation, the lack of
Right.
help, the lack of funds, of getting the relief to the absolutely famished disaster areas, be it Bangladesh or the sub-Saharan region of Africa or South America or all around the world. But there's an ongoing, more long-ranging problem, and that is, I mean, the fact is we've had hunger all the way through human history, and there's some things that we're going to have to do about it.
Some basic changes.
Right,
And some of those are political and economic.
and people have to be aware of
Yeah.
what they can do, or how these things are caused. Many of the economic dislocations in this country right now that are causing hardship for some people have a basis in the same thing that's making people starve in other countries. And when between 1/8 and 1/4 of the human race is chronically malnourished, which is the
That's amazing, isn't it?
pleasant term for
Yeah.
starving people,
Right.
that there's something basically wrong, especially when they say we've got 4 billion people and we've got enough food if it's properly allocated and distributed to feed 8 billion. So there's really
It's not a shortage of food. It's the way it's distributed. It's the kind of food that people get. It's so many complicated things.
And so you can't go into it. I mean, Steve Spinola, who's the director of Why, somebody asked him how his job was going, and he sort of wryly looked and smiled and said, "Well, if you mean, are there any people starving? Yes, there still are."
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing awesome task. But the one thing we're trying to do is both get some cracks and opening doors in the educational system. I personally have gone to about 43 high schools and 12 colleges in the last year to talk about this, and I'm very open to do it. And also, it's nice when you can combine that with a benefit concert or something
Yes.
where the money goes to working on specific areas of the problem. And then the other thing is the media, where, I mean, it's sort of sad, but, for example, an expert like Lester Brown, who wrote an incredible book called By Bread Alone, by himself cannot get onto the media. But say if I do a Mike Douglas show and
We
say I
brought
want
him
to talk...
on that time.
Right.
Yeah.
We've set up an arrangement by which he came on and talked about it. And
Going to do a similar thing with the Carson Show.
Right,
And all
right.
sorts of places that you've been, where you've been talking about this
And,
issue.
and since there's a natural ability of people in this celebrity area to get press space, hopefully we can all, each time, people like Don McLean have been helping us, and
Yeah. Tom Paxton
Tom
maybe now,
Paxton, right?
yeah.
And so
Orleans, yeah.
we're hoping to get this kind of exposure.
All right, Why is a group that is trying to influence legislation. We're trying to do an
Personal habits.
educational, and personal habits. We're trying to do a whole educational program with college people, high school people, and grassroots people, not simply to give money for food, but rather to change some of the economic and political structures of the way that we deal with other countries, and to change our own life too. And one of the focuses I think that both of us have had in this whole hunger thing was that tragic picture of the baby being nursed, or the mother trying to nurse the baby and not being able to do it. On the basis of that, Harry Chapin wrote a song called The Shortest Story, and we're going to do this one live, right, Harry?
Yeah, well, it's me and a guitar here. It's,
Harry and the guitar in the
Right.
studio, folks, with The Shortest Story.
I am born today. The sun burns its promise in my eyes. Mama strikes me, and I draw a breath to cry. Far above a cloud softly tumbles through the sky. I am glad to be alive. It is my 7th day. I taste the hunger and I cry. Brother and sister cling to mama's side. She squeezes her breast, but it has nothing to provide. Someone weeps, I fall asleep. It is 20 days today. Mama does not hold me anymore. I open my mouth, but I am too weak to cry. Far above, a bird slowly crawls across the sky. Why is there nothing left to do but die? Not a song for clapping, is it?
No, it's a kind of a down song in a way, but it really isn't, because it's talking about a very deep reality. That's The Shortest Story. And it's the shortest story. It's the shortest song you've ever written, right?
Right, I'm famous for very long songs, but I mean, when you're talking about a very short life, and
Yeah.
there's an awful lot of, half of the children of that, between 500 million and 1 billion people, half of that vast amount of humanity, the children of that vast amount of humanity do not live to be 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 kids that are under 6 myself, and to think that maybe one of them 2 would die of hunger, when you're talking about statistically, would, it begin to be an awesome thought. And I think if
So-
you put a starving baby in somebody's lap, he would do something about it. But what we
Exactly.
try to do is not remember that there's all those people out there that are going through these kinds of horror situations.
Yeah, millions of people throughout the world. And we're trying to do something about that. We've been talking about this group called Why, World Hunger Year, that we started almost a year ago. And it's something that we're trying to get people involved in. We certainly have touched a lot of people through it.
The fact is that there are so many things that individuals can do on a political basis, on an educational basis, working in the United States, in your own communities, old people, young people, and please give us a call.
Yeah, we got a lot of things for you if you want to share in this whole concern about hunger, which a lot of people, including the 2 that you've been listening to for the past half hour, think is probably the greatest problem that we're facing in the world.